Hello, gentlefolk of the internet. My name is Rebekah. This is the Rebekah Fit I've come to share. Today we're going to talk about the rules. Whose rules? My rules. What are we ruling over? I don't know, man. I'm just trying to get through life. What the rules are for me is sort of a way to explain to you my mentality, the way I think about things. I invented the rules many, many years ago. I have a visual aid today. The rules. This is how important the rules are to me. I made a screen to make t-shirts at a certain point in my life because this was so important to me. The reason this is important to me is because it helped me understand how to sort of see the world in a way that was very, very helpful for me. I started writing some stuff for future content and I realized that that stuff is in the middle of this. It's like rule number 3. And I'm like, okay, well, if we're going to start talking about rule number 3, I should probably tell you what the rules are. The rules, starting at the beginning. That's not the point. Basically, if you're using the rules or any rules to be a jerk, to make a point, to wag your finger, you're probably just being a jerk. I don't want to play that way. That's not at all what I'm about. Rule number 1 is that's not the point, because we're not trying to make a point. We're trying to understand one another. I'm trying to understand the world around me. I'm trying to make sense of chaos. And that's what I use these to do. Rule number 2, the goal is the source. Certainly in capitalism, we learn this. We want to be moving upstream, seeing what the source is, and understanding what is upstream. What's happening downstream. Where do we exist in a larger ecosystem, and how do we understand and respect the source? Rule number 2, pay attention to the little things. You may have noticed that there are 2 rule number 2s. Thank you for paying attention to the little things. Here's the thing. Beyond rule number 1 and secret rule number 0. Shh, it's a secret. Secret rule number 0 is that there are exceptions to every rule, any rule, ever, even secret rule number 0. When we get past 0 and 1, it gets a little more complicated. It gets a little more vague, and honestly, everybody has their own rules. These are just mine. But I still think it comes back to a very, very basic premise that we're not here to be a jerk. We're not here to shame people. And we're not here to get too bogged down into what we believe is happening. Like, this is what I believe will help me. And if I forget, which I do all of the time, that there are exceptions to every rule, I'm the one getting in my own way. I'm the one preventing me from seeing that there are other things happening that are just as valid and useful. And so the very, very beginning is that 0 and 1. And from there, it gets a little chaotic. But for me, the way that I feed my self-care bucket is with gratitude. And I do that by paying attention to the little things. And by getting to the source and understanding more about the whole chain of whatever it is that I'm interacting with. And then from there, rule number 3 is magic happens. Rule number 3, Rule number 3 is when I'm talking out loud, people can hear me. There's other rule number 3s, and I can't remember them all. Rule number 4 is never move quickly. Be mindful. And generally, the 4 rules are about time for me, and about being mindful of time and how it's used and how I use it to my benefit, and how to not let myself get wound up over time lost or time potential, or don't. Time is passing and it is fine, and we do not judge the time, and that's what rule number 4 is for me. Rule number 5 is do the right things for the right reasons. Obviously, this is subjective, but it's important to me that I'm doing the right thing, doing my best. And I believe I'm doing my best. I believe everybody is doing their best. And this is a reminder about doing it for the right reasons for me. And that it's not about me. It's about leaving things better than I found it. It's about giving back to whatever it is that contributes to the amazingness that is my life, that I am so lucky to have. Rule number 6, use both hands. Also important about rule number 6 is it is 2 of rule number 3. So when you can make magic happen using both hands, that's the game. That's what rule number 6 is for me. And that 3, that magic at 3, we're gonna get back to that. Rule number 7 is get twisted, just for a little alternate perspective. And when you twist the 8, it all goes on to infinity. Rule number 9, back to that 3, believe in a higher power. Believe in something greater than yourself. And when you can make magic happen, use both hands, and then believe in that higher power. That's like a power triangle for me of just like gratitude, embodiment, self-care, giving back, and it just like, you just juggle that. And rule number 10 is it all comes together. And I believe that. I believe it all comes together. Every single person that I've met and interacted with, and even just the slightest of ways, contributes to who I am. And I am not me without everyone else that has contributed to making me me. That's obviously my parents, that's the people I went to school with, that's the people that I am uncomfortable walking past, taking my kids to and from the grocery store. Every single person that I interact with, it all comes together to make me who I am. And being grateful for every single human being is so important to me, as a way of just being grateful for being alive and being grateful for existing in this time and space. It is magic. We live in the future, and it's amazing. And so I just wanted to get started at the source and get started at the top. And this, to me, it explains so much about just how I see the world and how I understand the things around me. So yeah, I just wanted to share that with you today. Thank you so much for joining me. If you enjoyed that video, be sure to smash that like button. If you're a new friend, subscribe, tag that little bell down there to get notifications from me. Tell me about your rules. How do you see the world? I know that this is sort of methodical, and this is just who I am. I'd love to know more about who you are. Share it in the comments below. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a great day.